Good evening. Tonight's presentation concerns a most peculiar evening in Los Angeles. An evening that began, as these things often do, with the illusion of security and our tendency to believe concrete and steel can protect us from determined men. A Christmas party on the 30th floor, a tower of glass and ambition, 30 innocents celebrating the season, and from that single gathering unfolded violence far beyond what anyone could have imagined. Before we proceed, a brief confession. The broadcasts you are about to hear were created with the assistance of artificial intelligence. The voices are synthetic. The events, however dramatic, are inspired by a story you may know. Technology provides the machinery, but imagination turns the gears. What follows is entirely fictional. Any resemblance to real places, real personalities, or real acts of violence is purely coincidental. And yet, you may discover that when greed masquerades as ideology, we rarely get to choose who becomes a hero. Much like the off-duty detective at the heart of our tale. The broadcast will begin momentarily. Enjoy the show.
Good evening, Los Angeles. I'm John Willis, and welcome to Channel 7 News at 5. It's Christmas Eve, and if you're just getting home from last-minute shopping, you've got my sympathy. The 405 looked like a parking lot about an hour ago. But hey, that's the price we pay for living in the best city in the world, right? Let's get you caught up on what's happening this holiday evening. First up, some good news for a change. Remember that story we've been following about the missing golden retriever in Pasadena? Well, Max is home for Christmas. His family found him this afternoon at a shelter in Glendale, about 15 miles from where he went missing 3 weeks ago. The Johnson family says it's the best Christmas present they could ask for. We've got video of the reunion, and I'm not going to lie, it got a little dusty in here when we watched it earlier. Weather-wise, we're looking at a beautiful Christmas Eve. Clear skies, temperatures dropping into the low 60s tonight. Perfect weather if you're heading to one of those candlelight services. Bonnie Gennaro is out in Century City right now where they're getting ready for the big Christmas tree lighting at the mall. Bonnie, how's it looking out there?
John, it's absolutely gorgeous out here. I've got to tell you, the energy is just wonderful. Families everywhere, kids running around with their faces painted, and that tree behind me is about 40 feet tall. They're saying it's one of the biggest in the city. Lighting ceremony starts at 6:30, and from what I'm seeing, we're going to have a great crowd. Traffic's moving pretty well on Santa Monica Boulevard, so if you're thinking about coming down, now's the time. I actually ran into some folks from the Nakatomi Corporation party that's happening just a few blocks from here. Big Christmas bash on the 30th floor of their plaza building. One of the executives told me they're expecting about 40 people tonight. Must be nice working for a company that throws that kind of party. Back to you, John.
Thanks, Bonnie. And speaking of Nakatomi, their stock closed up 3% today. The Japanese conglomerate's been making some serious moves in the Los Angeles commercial real estate market. They posted strong quarterly earnings last week, and analysts are calling them one of the smartest players in the Pacific Rim business community. Not bad for a company most of us couldn't pronounce 5 years ago. Now, if you're traveling tonight, we've got some updates from LAX. Harry Powell is at our traffic center with the latest. Harry, what are we looking at?
John, it's actually not as bad as we thought it would be. Most of the Christmas travel happened yesterday and this morning, so we're seeing lighter than expected volume at the airport. Security lines are moving pretty quick, maybe 20-25 minutes in most terminals. If you're picking someone up tonight, give yourself an extra half hour just to be safe, but we're not seeing the nightmare scenarios we sometimes get on Christmas Eve. On the freeways, the 405 is clearing up nicely now that we're past rush hour. The 10 is moving well through downtown. Really, the only trouble spot is the 101 near Hollywood, where we've got some construction crews working. They're trying to get finished before tomorrow, so expect some delays there until about 7 or 8 tonight.
Appreciate it, Harry. And hey, for those of you hosting tonight, quick reminder that most grocery stores close at 6. If you forgot the cranberry sauce or the eggnog, you've got about an hour. Plan accordingly. Let's talk about what's open and what's closed tomorrow. Christmas Day, most city offices will be shut down. Obviously, public libraries closed. But if you need a pharmacy, Eckerd's and Walgreens will have select locations open. Several movie theaters are showing films tomorrow afternoon, which is becoming kind of a Los Angeles Christmas tradition, isn't it? Dinner and a movie, when you can't take another minute of your in-laws. The LAPD is reminding everyone to lock your cars and homes, even if you're just running out for a few hours tonight. We see a spike in burglaries during the holidays. Unfortunately, people see wrapped presents through windows and, well, some folks just don't have any Christmas spirit. So be smart, be safe. Coming up after the break, we'll have more on that massive toy drive that exceeded all expectations this year. The Marines collected over 50,000 toys for children across Southern California. We'll talk to the organizer about how they pulled it off. And later, we've got a piece about a grandmother in Inglewood who's been making tamales for her entire neighborhood for 43 years straight. That's dedication right there. But first, let's check in with our meteorologist about what we can expect for Christmas Day. Spoiler alert, it's going to be beautiful. Stay with us.
All units, we have a 901A reported at Nakatomi Plaza, Century City, 3 Fox Plaza, Avenue of the Stars. Fire alarm activation on the 30th floor. Engine 51 and truck 17 respond.
Engine 51 responding. ETA 4 minutes.
Truck 17 responding. We're about 5 out.
Copy Engine 51. Truck 17. Be advised, we cannot confirm visual smoke or fire. May be a false activation.
Dispatch, this is 2 Lincoln 30. I'm in the area, about 1 minute from that location. Want me to swing by and do a visual check?
2 Lincoln 30. Affirmative. Visual confirmation would be helpful before fire units arrive.
Copy that. 2 Lincoln 30 en route to Nakatomi Plaza.
Copy. 2 Lincoln 30. Stand by. We're getting a call back from building security now.
Lincoln 30 on scene. Building exterior looks clear, no visible smoke or flames from ground level. I can see lights on the upper floors. Looks like there's some kind of party or event happening up there.
Copy. 2 Lincoln 19. Stand by. We're getting a call back from building security now.
All units, cancel response to Nakatomi Plaza. Building security confirms false alarm. Cleaning crew triggered the sensor with cleaning chemicals. They've reset the system. Engine 51, truck 17, you can cancel and resume patrol.
Engine 51 copies, canceling response.
Truck 17 copies. We're clear.
2 Lincoln 30 copies. Happy to confirm it's nothing. Place looks pretty fancy up there. A lot of Christmas lights and decorations visible from down here. Somebody's having a good time tonight.
Copy that. 2 Lincoln 30. Appreciate the assist. Merry Christmas.
You too with dispatch. 2 Lincoln 30 clear and resuming patrol.
We're interrupting our scheduled programming to bring you breaking news out of Century City. I'm John Willis. Initial reports were established by KFLW reporter Richard Thornburg, who was first on the scene. We're getting reports of shots fired at Nakatomi Plaza. That's the high-rise office building on Avenue of the Stars. An LAPD officer has reported that a body fell from the building onto his patrol car, and he came under fire trying to investigate. Emergency crews are responding to the scene now. Bonnie Gennaro was actually in the area for that tree lighting we showed you earlier. Bonnie, what are you seeing?
John, I'm about 2 blocks from Nakatomi Plaza right now, and I can tell you there's absolute chaos down here. We started hearing what sounded like gunshots maybe 10 minutes ago, sharp cracks, multiple rounds, and then police started flooding into the area. I'm seeing at least a dozen patrol cars, more arriving every minute. They're setting up some kind of perimeter around the building. I can see the plaza from here, and there are lights on in the upper floors, but I can't see any visible damage from this angle. People who were at the tree lighting, they heard the shots too. Everyone's scattered. Some folks are saying they saw something fall from the building, but I can't confirm that from where I'm standing.
Bonnie, are police letting anyone near the building?
No, they're keeping everyone back. They've got Avenue of the Stars blocked off in both directions. We're trying to get closer, but they're being very firm about the perimeter. Hold on, John. I'm going to try to talk to one of the officers.
We'll stay with you, Bonnie.
Excuse me, officer. Can you tell us what's happening inside? Okay, he's not stopping. They're moving pretty quickly here. John, I'm seeing more units arrive. SWAT vans are pulling up now. This is looking more serious than just a disturbance call.
Bonnie, do we know if there were people in the building? It's Christmas Eve. Most offices would be closed.
That's what makes this strange, John. Most of the buildings should be empty, but we reported earlier that Nakatomi Corporation was having their Christmas party tonight. That was supposed to be on the 30th floor. We don't know if those people are still there, if they're okay. We just don't have that information yet. I'm trying to get confirmation on how many people might have been at that party.
Stay safe, Bonnie. We're going to try to get more information from our sources. For those of you just joining us, we have a breaking situation in Century City at Nakatomi Plaza. Reports of gunfire, a body reportedly fell from the building, and an LAPD officer came under fire. Heavy police presence on scene. We're working to confirm details, and we'll bring you more information as soon as we have it. Harry Powell is monitoring police scanners from our newsroom. Harry, what are you hearing?
John, the scanner traffic is intense right now. I'm hearing multiple units requesting backup at Nakatomi Plaza. They're using codes that suggest this is more than just a shooting incident. I'm hearing references to possible armed suspects, possible hostage situation, requests for SWAT team deployment. One transmission mentioned that the officer who was shot at managed to escape and is providing information to commanders on scene. What I can tell you is that the response is escalating quickly. In the last 5 minutes, I've counted at least 20 additional units being dispatched to the location. That's not normal for a building emergency. That suggests law enforcement is treating this as something very serious.
Are we hearing anything about casualties?
Nothing confirmed on casualties yet, John, but I am hearing requests for additional medical personnel to stage near the scene. That could mean they're preparing for multiple casualties, or it could just be standard preparation. The body that reportedly fell from the building, we don't have confirmation on whether that was an accident, suicide, or something else entirely.
All right, Harry, keep monitoring those channels and let us know if you hear anything else. We're going to try to reach LAPD for an official statement. Again, if you're just tuning in, we have a developing situation at Nakatomi Plaza in Century City. Shots fired, heavy police presence, reports of a body falling from the building. We'll continue to follow this story and bring you updates as they become available. We're going to take a brief 30-second break to let our affiliates identify, and then we'll be right back with more coverage. Stay with Channel 7 News.
At Nakatomi Corporation, we believe in building more than buildings. We build futures. For over 30 years, Nakatomi has been a leader in international development, commercial real estate, and innovative investment strategies. From Tokyo to Los Angeles, we're creating spaces where businesses thrive and communities grow.
Our Los Angeles headquarters in Century City stands as a symbol of what's possible when vision meets excellence. And this holiday season, we're especially proud to celebrate with our employees, partners, and the city we call home, Nakatomi Corporation. Building tomorrow, today.
Nakatomi, where innovation reaches new heights.
Welcome back to our continuing coverage of the situation at Nakatomi Plaza. We've just received word that LAPD will be making a statement in the next few minutes. While we wait for that, let's go back to Bonnie Gennaro, who's at the scene. Bonnie, has anything changed in the last couple minutes?
John, the perimeter is getting wider. They're pushing everyone back another full block now. I can see officers with rifles, not just handguns. That's significant. The crowd that was here for the tree lighting, they're all being moved away from the area. Some people are refusing to leave. They're saying they have family members who work in that building or were at the party. I just spoke with a woman whose husband works for Nakatomi. She's been trying to reach him on his cell phone and she's not getting through. She's terrified, John. There are probably a dozen people like her here, all trying to get information about their loved ones.
Is there any way for those family members to get information from authorities?
Not yet. The officers here are focused on securing the area. There's no family liaison set up that I can see. These people are they're standing here watching, not knowing if their husbands, wives, friends are okay. It's heartbreaking. Hold on, John. Something's happening. I'm seeing large portable lights being set up. Big ones. The kind they use for night construction. They're positioning them to aim at the building. This looks like they're preparing for some kind of tactical operation.
Bonnie, please make sure you and your crew are in a safe location.
We're behind a concrete barrier about a block and a half away. We're okay. But John, the way these officers are positioned, the way they're setting up these lights, this is not an accident. This is not a gas leak. Something is very wrong inside that building, and I think LAPD is about to go in.
We're being told that LAPD is about to make a statement. Let's listen to that now.
Good evening. I'm Deputy Chief Sarah Thornhill with the Los Angeles Police Department. At approximately 8:25 this evening, an LAPD patrol officer responding to a call in the Century City area observed a body fall from Nakatomi Plaza and land on his patrol vehicle. When the officer attempted to investigate, he came under fire from inside the building. The officer was able to retreat safely and called for backup. Upon arrival, additional officers confirmed gunfire coming from the upper floors of Nakatomi Plaza. We have reason to believe that armed individuals have taken control of at least one floor of the building. At this time, we cannot confirm the number of suspects or the number of potential hostages. We do know that Nakatomi Corporation was hosting a company Christmas party on the 30th floor this evening with approximately 30 employees and family members in attendance. We are in the process of establishing a secure perimeter and bringing in specialized units to assess the situation. The building has been surrounded, and we are attempting to establish communication with anyone inside. This is now being treated as an armed hostage situation. We are asking all civilians to avoid the area. Avenue of the Stars is closed from Constellation to Santa Monica Boulevard. If you have family members who work at Nakatomi Plaza or were attending the company party this evening, we are setting up a family information center at the Century City Mall security office. Please go there for updates. Do not attempt to approach the building. I want to emphasize that this is an active and developing situation. We will provide updates as we have confirmed information. We are not taking questions at this time. Thank you.
That was Deputy Chief Sarah Thornhill confirming what many of us feared. A body fell from Nakatomi Plaza onto a police car. The officer then came under fire. LAPD is now treating this as an armed hostage situation. Approximately 30 people were at a Nakatomi Corporation Christmas party on the 30th floor, and we don't know if they're safe, if they're being held, or what's happening up there. Bonnie, are you still there?
I'm here. John, we all just heard that statement down here on the street. You can feel the mood change. People who were hoping this was just some kind of accident, they know now. This is real. Armed individuals are inside that building, and there are hostages. The woman I spoke to earlier, the one whose husband works for Nakatomi, she just collapsed. Paramedics are with her now. This is devastating for these families.
Harry, you've covered law enforcement for 15 years. What does this response tell you?
John, when you see LAPD mobilizing this quickly, when you hear them use the phrase armed hostage situation this early in the response, they're dealing with something serious. The fact that an officer came under fire, that's not random violence. That's organized resistance. Someone inside that building is prepared to fight law enforcement. The other thing that concerns me is the uncertainty. They don't know how many suspects. They don't know how many hostages. That suggests they don't have eyes inside. They don't have good intelligence yet. They're going in blind, which makes this incredibly dangerous.
What would be LAPD's next move?
Right now, they're setting up containment. Nobody gets in, nobody gets out. They'll try to establish communication, figure out who they're dealing with and what they want. But those lights Bonnie mentioned, those big portable lights being aimed at the building, that suggests they're also preparing for a tactical option. If negotiations fail, if they believe hostages are in imminent danger, SWAT will go in. The body that fell from the building, we still don't know who that was or why they fell, but it suggests violence has already occurred inside. Someone is already dead.
Let's bring in our expert on hostage situations. Dr. Margaret Wendis is a former FBI agent who specialized in crisis negotiation. She's joining us by phone. Dr. Wendis, thank you for being with us on Christmas Eve. What's your initial assessment of what we're seeing?
Well, John, this is deeply concerning. The fact that suspects opened fire on a police officer immediately, that tells us they're prepared for confrontation. They're not trying to hide. They're not trying to negotiate yet. That's unusual behavior for most hostage situations. The other troubling element is the body that fell from the building. Was that a hostage? Was that one of the suspects? Was it deliberate or accidental? Without knowing that, we can't assess how stable this situation is.
What should LAPD be doing right now?
The most important thing is establishing communication. They need to make contact with whoever's in control inside that building. Understand the demands. Assess the mental state of the suspects. Are these political extremists? Are these criminals? What do they want? The danger in the first hour is that everyone is running on adrenaline. The suspects, the hostages, the police, everyone is at their highest stress level. That's when mistakes happen, when someone does something rash. LAPD needs to slow this down, create a pause where cooler heads can prevail.
Dr. Wendis, thank you. Please stay available. We may need to come back to you as this develops. Bonnie, what's happening there now?
John, the lights are on. Those big portable lights I mentioned, they've activated them. The front of Nakatomi Plaza is lit up like daytime. It's almost blinding from here. I can see SWAT officers in position. They're behind barriers, weapons ready. This looks like they're preparing to move in, but they're waiting for something. Maybe a signal, maybe more intelligence. But something is about to happen, John. I can feel it.
We're going to stay with this story. This is a developing hostage situation at Nakatomi Plaza in Century City. Approximately 30 people are believed to be inside, possibly being held by armed individuals. LAPD has surrounded the building and appears to be preparing for action. Stay with Channel 7 News for continuing coverage.
You're listening to After Dark on AM 640. I'm Argyle White. And folks, we're going to set aside our planned topic tonight because we've got something happening right now in Century City. I'm sure many of you have heard the news reports. There's a situation at Nakatomi Plaza, and our lines have been lighting up. I want to talk to people who saw something, who heard something. If you were in that area tonight and you have information, give us a call. Let me go to line 1. This is Walter from Culver City. Walter, you're on the air.
Yeah, Argyle. I'm a ham radio operator. I've got equipment at home, and I monitor different frequencies for fun. You know, police, fire, sometimes commercial bands. Earlier tonight, I picked up a transmission on a commercial frequency. It wasn't police. It sounded like someone in serious trouble.
What did you hear?
A man's voice, stressed out, said, "Terrorists have seized the Nakatomi Plaza. At least 30 hostages, at least 6 or more terrorists with automatic weapons. They've already killed 1 hostage." Just like that, clear as day. And then he cut out for a second, and when he came back, I could hear someone else on the radio. Sounded like a dispatcher or something, and they didn't seem concerned at all. The caller seemed frustrated, made some joke about ordering a pizza. And then I heard what sounded like gunfire. Just pop, 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 and the transmission cut off completely. I tried to respond, but I never got anything back.
Did you report this to the police?
Not yet. I didn't know if it was real or if someone was just messing around on the frequency. But now with the news reports, I think that was real. I think someone inside that building was calling for help, and nobody believed him.
That's chilling. Thank you for calling. Please do contact LAPD and give them this information. Folks, if that's true, if someone inside that building was calling for help and was ignored, that's a failure we'll have to reckon with. Someone knew what was happening and nobody listened. Let's go to line 2. This is Jerry from Culver City. Jerry, you're on the air.
Yeah, Argyle, I work at the parking structure underneath Nakatomi Plaza. I'm the night attendant. I got off my shift about an hour ago, but I was there when it started.
What did you see, Jerry?
This truck pulls in, big moving truck, you know, like a rental. And I'm thinking, who's moving furniture on Christmas Eve? But whatever, not my business. These guys get out, and they're dressed regular, casual clothes, nothing special. They started unloading these big cases, long cases. I watched them on the security monitor, and I'm thinking, those look like rifle cases. But I told myself, no, That's crazy. You're being paranoid. It's probably just equipment or furniture broken down. But now with what's happening, I know what I saw.
Did you report this to anyone?
I called building security, told them I thought something was weird. They said they'd check it out. 5 minutes later, I hear this loud bang like an explosion, and all the power in the garage flickers. I got the hell out of there, man. I ran up the exit ramp, and I didn't look back. I'm not a hero. I'm not getting shot for $12 an hour.
Jerry, you did the right thing. Did you see how many men there were?
At least 10, maybe 12. Hard to tell because they were moving around. All of them seemed focused, you know. They knew what they were doing.
Jerry, thank you for calling. Please do contact LAPD and give them this information. It could be important. Let's go to line 3. This is Patricia calling from her office in Century City. Patricia, what did you see?
Argo. I'm an administrative assistant at the Prudential building. That's directly across from Nakatomi Plaza. I was working late tonight, finishing some year-end reports, and my desk faces their building. I saw muzzle flashes through the windows on one of the upper floors. I know what gunfire looks like, because my father was in Vietnam and he took me to the range when I was younger. That was gunfire.
Which floor did you see this on?
High up, maybe the 30th floor. The lights were on and I could see shapes moving, and then I saw the flashes. Multiple weapons, multiple locations. And then I saw glass break. A window shattered outward and something fell. I don't know if it was a person or furniture or what. I called 911 immediately.
Are you still in your office?
No. Police evacuated our building about 20 minutes ago. I'm down on the street now. They've got the whole area locked down. There are so many police cars, Argyle. And I can see men on rooftops with rifles, snipers, I think. This is bigger than anything I've ever seen in person.
Patricia, thank you for calling, and stay safe. One more call before the break. Line 3, this is Marcus, and Marcus, you're calling from where?
Argyle, I'm a helicopter pilot for Metro Traffic. I was up doing the evening traffic report when this went down. We had a perfect view from about 1,000 feet up.
What did you see from up there?
I saw the truck your other caller mentioned arrive at the building. Just one truck, pulled right up to the parking garage entrance. I didn't think anything of it at the time, just noted it in my traffic report, but then later, I saw a police car down there, and suddenly it was taking fire. I mean, I could see the muzzle flashes from the building aimed at this police car. The car was trying to get away, backing up fast. That's when I knew this was serious.
A police car was shot at?
Yeah, absolutely. This wasn't random, Argyle. Someone in that building deliberately fired at a police vehicle. That's when I radioed it into our station, and by the time I circled back around, there were police cars everywhere.
Marcus, incredible information. Thank you. Folks, what we're hearing from these eyewitnesses paints a picture of something far more organized than random violence. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, I want to hear from anyone else who was in Century City tonight. The number is on your screen. This is Argyle White After Dark, and we're living through something unprecedented tonight in Los Angeles.
Hey parents, let's talk about snack time. You want something the kids will actually eat? Something that lasts in the pantry? And let's be honest, something you might sneak for yourself at 10 p.m. Enter Twinkie. That golden sponge cake, that creamy filling, that taste that never gets old. It's been America's favorite snack cake for decades, and there's a reason why. Twinkie lasts. Twinkie delivers. Twinkie is always there when you need it. Lunch boxes, road trips, late-night cravings. Twinkie has your back. And this holiday season, stock up, because you know someone's gonna ask for one. Twinkie cream-filled cakes. Still here, still perfect, still delicious. Twinkie, the snack cake that never quits.
We're back with continuing coverage, and the situation at Nakatomi Plaza is escalating rapidly. In the last few minutes, LAPD has moved into position for what appears to be an assault on the building. Those lights we mentioned, the massive portable lights aimed at the structure, they're now at full intensity. Bonnie Gennaro is on scene. Bonnie, what's happening?
John, SWAT teams are moving toward the building. I can see them advancing with shields, weapons drawn. They're approaching the main entrance. This is it, John. They're going in. The lights are so bright on that building. It's like daylight. I can barely look at it.
Are the SWAT teams still advancing?
They've stopped, John. They're holding position, I think. And now, gunfire, sustained gunfire from the building. John, they're shooting at the police. Automatic weapons, multiple positions. SWAT is taking cover, returning fire. This is a full firefight in the middle of Century City.
Bonnie, get to cover immediately.
We're behind concrete. We're okay. But John, this is intense. I can hear the rounds hitting cars, hitting buildings, glasses shattering everywhere. The police are pinned down. They can't advance.
Harry Powell, what are you hearing on the scanners?
John, it's chaos on the radio. Multiple officers calling for backup. Reports of heavy weapons fire from multiple floors. SWAT commander is calling for a tactical retreat. They're pulling back. John, the assault has failed. They can't get through that firepower.
Bonnie, is the gunfire stopping?
It's slowing down, John. I think, yes, SWAT is falling back. They're retreating to cover positions. The suspects have stopped shooting. They made their point. The police can't get in.
We're going to stay with this. This is unprecedented. Armed individuals inside Nakatomi Plaza just repelled a LAPD SWAT assault. Multiple officers may be wounded. We don't have confirmation on casualties yet, but this situation has just escalated to, I don't even know how to describe this. This is urban warfare in Los Angeles.
John, I'm seeing ambulances moving in now. They're treating officers. I can't tell how many are wounded, but medical personnel are working on multiple people. This is terrible.
Harry, any word on FBI response?
I'm hearing chatter that FBI is en route. John, multiple units from their Los Angeles field office. This is going to become a federal operation. LAPD doesn't have the resources or the training for this level of assault.
We're going to take a brief. Wait, what is that?
John, I'm seeing there's something, I don't know, oh my God! Explosion, huge explosion inside the building. Flames, smoke. John, the whole building shook.
Bonnie, are you all right?
We felt it from here, a block and a half away, and we felt the shock wave. That was enormous. Fire, there's fire visible on multiple floors now. Smoke pouring out of the broken windows. What was that? What just happened? John, scanner traffic is reporting an explosion inside the building. Unknown cause. Fire department is requesting clearance to approach, but they're being told to hold back due to active shooter situation. This is impossible. They can't fight a fire while there's a firefight happening.
We've gone from a hostage situation to a gun battle to an explosion. I'm struggling to process what we're witnessing. Nakatomi Plaza in Century City is under siege. LAPD attempted an assault and was repelled. Now there's been a massive explosion inside the building. Approximately 30 hostages are believed to be somewhere inside. We don't know if they're alive, if they're safe. We know nothing. Bonnie, what are you seeing now?
John, the smoke is thick. I can see flames. Fire trucks are here, but they're not moving in. They can't. There are still armed suspects in that building. The firefighters are they're standing there helpless.
Harry, can you confirm FBI arrival?
Confirmed, John. FBI's Critical Incident Response Group has just arrived on scene. They're establishing a forward command post. I'm hearing that FBI is taking operational command from LAPD. This is now a federal operation.
In less than an hour, we've gone from shots fired to a full-scale battle to a federal takeover. The explosion we just witnessed was visible for miles. People across Los Angeles are calling in, asking what's happening, and the truth is, we don't fully know. What we do know is that Nakatomi Plaza is a war zone. 30 innocent people are trapped inside, and whatever is happening in there, it's only getting worse. We're going to continue our coverage. We're not leaving. Stay with Channel 7 News.
Yo, this is Argyle, and I want to talk to you about something important. How you arrive matters. Whether you're picking up family at LAX, heading to a corporate party, or just want to ride in style this holiday season, Argyle Limousine Service has got you covered.
We're not just drivers, we're your partners for the evening. Clean vehicles, smooth rides, and yeah, I might have the radio on, but it's gonna be good music, I promise you that. We serve all of Los Angeles County, and we're available 24/7, because let's be real, the best parties don't end at midnight. So this Christmas, don't stress about parking. Don't worry about traffic. Just sit back, relax, and let Argyle Limousine Service take care of you. Call 555-ARGYLE. That's 555-ARGYLE. Argyle Limousine Service. We'll get you there, and we'll get you home in style.
We're back with continuing coverage of the crisis at Nakatomi Plaza. The FBI has now arrived on scene and has taken operational command from LAPD. In the last 20 minutes, we witnessed an attempted LAPD assault that was repelled by armed suspects, followed by a massive explosion inside the building that shook windows for blocks. The situation has escalated from a hostage crisis to what can only be described as urban warfare in the heart of Los Angeles. For those just joining us, here's what we know. At approximately 8:25 this evening, a body fell from Nakatomi Plaza onto an LAPD patrol car. When officers investigated, they came under fire. Armed individuals have seized control of the building, holding approximately 30 hostages from a Nakatomi Corporation Christmas party. LAPD attempted a tactical assault at 9:05, but was driven back by heavy weapons fire. At 9:10, a massive explosion occurred on the middle floors of the building, cause unknown. FBI arrived shortly after and has assumed command. Bonnie Gennaro is still at the scene. Bonnie, what's the situation now?
John, the scene is chaotic but somewhat stabilized. The fire from the explosion has been contained, though we can still see smoke coming from the 20th floor area. Fire crews were finally able to approach under FBI protection, and they've managed to control the blaze from outside using ladder trucks. But they still can't enter the building because of the armed suspects. The FBI presence is massive. John, I'm seeing at least a dozen black SUVs, mobile command vehicles, tactical teams in full gear. They've established a forward command post about 2 blocks from the building. LAPD has stepped back and is now providing perimeter security while FBI handles the tactical response.
Harry Powell, what are you hearing from the FBI?
John, FBI is being extremely tight-lipped about operational details. What I can confirm is that Special Agents Johnson and Johnson, no relation, are the incident commanders. They brought in the Critical Incident Response Group, which is FBI's elite hostage rescue unit. These are the people who handle major terrorist incidents, kidnappings, high-risk situations. The scanner traffic suggests they're conducting a full assessment. They're trying to establish communication with whoever's inside. They're mapping the building. They're reviewing LAPD's tactical footage from the assault. They're also investigating that explosion. Early indications are that it was C4 or similar military-grade explosive. Whether it was detonated by the suspects or by someone fighting them, that's unclear.
Colonel Sebastian, the FBI is now in charge. How does that change the response?
The FBI has resources and training that LAPD doesn't have for this level of incident. They have better intelligence capabilities, better tactical equipment, and experience with complex hostage scenarios. The fact that they're bringing in the Critical Incident Response Group tells you they're treating this as a major terrorist event. What concerns me is what we witnessed during the LAPD assault. Those suspects fought like a trained military unit. They had excellent defensive positions, they used the building systems tactically, and they had the firepower to repel a SWAT team. That's not random criminals. That's organized, trained operatives. The FBI is dealing with professionals.
Dr. Wendis, we're now about an hour into this crisis. What should the FBI strategy be?
The first priority is establishing communication. They need to know who they're dealing with and what the demands are. Until they can talk to the suspects, they're operating blind. The second priority is intelligence gathering. How many suspects? How many hostages? Where are they located in the building? What weapons do they have? You can't plan a rescue without that information. The explosion complicates everything. If suspects are willing to use explosives, they might have rigged the entire building. That makes a tactical assault extremely dangerous. The FBI will need to move slowly and carefully, even though every instinct is to rush in and save those hostages.
Bonnie, have there been any attempts at communication that you've observed?
Nothing visible from out here, John. The FBI has set up what looks like a communications array, antennas and satellite equipment. I assume they're trying to make contact through phone lines, radio, maybe even trying to jam any communications the suspects might be using. But we haven't seen any signs of negotiation happening. No one coming out, no messages being delivered, nothing. The family members who are gathered here, they're desperate for information. The Family Information Center at the mall is overwhelmed. People are crying, praying, just waiting. Some of them have been here for over an hour with no word about their loved ones.
We're getting word now that the FBI will be making a statement shortly. While we wait for that, let's recap what we know and what we don't know. We know approximately 30 people were at the Nakatomi Christmas party. We know armed suspects are in control of the building. We know there's been at least one death, the body that fell from the building. We know LAPD attempted an assault and was repelled. We know a large explosion occurred on the middle floors. What we don't know is who these suspects are, what they want, how many there are, or whether the hostages are still alive. We don't know who set off that explosion or why. We don't know if this is terrorism, criminal activity, or something else entirely. The FBI is now in charge of finding those answers. Stay with Channel 7 News. We'll bring you the FBI statement as soon as it begins.
When precision matters, you trust the finest. John Phillips of London has been crafting bespoke suits for discerning gentlemen since 1898. From Savile Row to the boardrooms of Los Angeles, our tailoring represents excellence without compromise. Worn by world leaders and industry titans alike, even Yasser Arafat trusts John Phillips for his wardrobe. This holiday season, discover why executives from Tokyo to New York choose John Phillips. Custom-fitted, hand-stitched, timeless elegance. Because when you're planning something important, every detail counts. John Phillips London, available at select retailers in Beverly Hills and Century City. The suit makes the man. Make yours count.
All right, so we're back, and look, I know we were supposed to be talking about the IBM PS2 and Microsoft's new Windows release, but honestly, how can we? Everyone's watching what's happening in Century City right now. My studio's in Santa Monica. We're maybe 6 miles from Nakatomi Plaza, and I can hear the helicopters overhead. This is insane. Tommy, you were about to say something before we took that break?
Yeah, I was just saying, Nakatomi's been on our radar for months, right? We did that whole show about their Pacific Rim investments, their real estate portfolio, their technology acquisitions. This isn't some random target. If this is terrorism, they picked a company with serious financial weight. If it's criminal, same thing. Either way, somebody did their homework.
And on Christmas Eve, which is either incredibly bold or incredibly stupid, the building should have been mostly empty. The only reason there's hostages is that Christmas party. Without that party, this might have been totally different.
Random chance, man. That's the scary part. These people planned everything except for 70 people being on the 30th floor eating shrimp cocktail.
All right, so our phone lines are open. If anyone has information or wants to discuss what's happening, give us a call. Let's see, we've got someone on line one. Caller, you're on Tech Talk. What's your name?
Good evening, Carl. You can call me Hans.
Hey, Hans, thanks for calling. What's on your mind?
I'm calling because I think your listeners deserve to understand what's actually happening at Nakatomi Plaza tonight. The news media, they're speculating wildly, throwing around words like terrorism without any comprehension of the situation. I thought perhaps I could provide some clarity.
Okay, sure. What's your take on it?
My take, as you say, is that this is a political action against a corporation that has been complicit in the economic exploitation of developing nations. Nakatomi Corporation, they present themselves as legitimate businessmen, But their practices in Southeast Asia are predatory. They've displaced thousands of workers, they've manipulated currency markets, they've worked with corrupt governments to secure favorable deals while ordinary people starve.
That's a pretty specific critique. Are you reading this from something, or...?
I'm speaking from knowledge, Carl. Nakatomi represents everything wrong with unchecked corporate power. Tonight's action is a message to other corporations that there are consequences for treating human beings as disposable resources. The hostages, regrettably, are necessary to ensure that our demands are heard and taken seriously.
Wait, hold on. When you say our demands, are you saying you're involved with what's happening right now?
I'm saying that I understand the motivations behind this action. I'm saying that the individuals inside that building are not terrorists in the crude sense that word is being used tonight. They are political actors responding to injustice. Some of us were part of movements like Volksfrei, fighting against corporate and governmental oppression in Europe. Tonight's action follows that same philosophy. Before your media circus paints us as villains, your listeners should understand the context.
Okay, Hans, I'm going to ask you directly. Are you inside Nakatomi Plaza right now?
Where I am is irrelevant. What matters is that you understand this is not random violence. This is calculated political action. We have demands regarding Nakatomi's operations in Indonesia, Malaysia, and the Philippines. We are demanding the release of political prisoners being held by governments that Nakatomi does business with. We are demanding financial reparations to communities that have been destroyed by their development projects. We are demanding public accountability.
This is crazy. Carl, we should probably call the police.
Please, by all means, contact the authorities. They're already aware of our demands. They're simply choosing not to share them with the public yet because it would complicate their narrative. They want to paint this as simple criminality. It's not. This is about justice.
Hans, if you were involved with this, people could die. There are families in that building. Kids, maybe.
And there are families across Southeast Asia whose children work in factories for pennies an hour because of Nakatomi's business practices. There are villages that have been bulldozed to make room for their developments. Where is your outrage for them, Carl? Why is it only when wealthy executives are inconvenienced that anyone pays attention? I called your show because I know your audience is educated, thoughtful. I wanted them to hear the truth before the media spins this into something it's not. What happens tonight, the responsibility lies with Nakatomi Corporation and the governments that enable them, not with us.
Hans, I don't even know what to say to that. I mean, even if everything you're saying about Nakatomi is true, and I'm not saying it is, you can't hold people hostage. That's not how you create change.
Peaceful protest achieves nothing when corporations control governments. Legal challenges take years and are defeated by armies of lawyers. Sometimes, Carl, the only way to make power listen is to threaten what power values most. In this case, that's money and reputation. Tonight, Nakatomi is losing both.
You sound European. German, maybe.
Very perceptive. Yes, I'm German. I was born in East Germany, actually. I understand what it means to live under oppressive systems. I understand what it takes to break them. The West likes to think they're free, but you're slaves to corporations just as much as we were slaves to the party. You just have better packaging.
Okay, Hans, I think we need to end this call. I don't feel comfortable giving you a platform if you're actually involved with what's happening.
I appreciate you hearing me out, Carl. I suspect the authorities are already tracing this call, so I'll say goodbye. But remember what I've told you. Tonight is about justice, not terror. Merry Christmas, gentlemen.
Holy shit. Tommy, tell me you recorded that.
Yeah, it's recorded. Carl, we need to call the FBI right now. Like right now.
I'm calling them. Jesus. That was either the real thing or the most elaborate prank I've ever heard. His voice. Did you hear how calm he was? No nerves, no emotion, just laying out this whole ideology like he's giving a lecture?
If that was real, if that guy is actually involved, we just got a direct statement from the people holding hostages at Nakatomi Plaza. This is massive, Carl. This is national news.
Okay, I'm on hold with the FBI tip line. Folks, if you're listening to this live, we just took a call from someone claiming to be associated with the Nakatomi situation. We don't know if it's legitimate, but we're reporting it to authorities immediately. We're going to keep recording, but I need a minute here to deal with this. Tommy, can you just, I don't know, talk about something?
Yeah, okay. So listeners, this is not how we expected tonight to go. We were supposed to be talking about tech, about chips and software, and instead we're in the middle of something none of us understand. If that call was real, if Hans is his actual name, we just heard directly from someone inside a hostage crisis. That's never happened before. Not like this.
Okay, I'm through. I'm talking to an FBI agent. They're asking me to send them the recording immediately. They're saying don't discuss this on air anymore until they can verify it. So I guess we're cutting the show short tonight, folks. We'll post updates as we learn more. Stay safe out there, Los Angeles. This is Tech Talk, signing off.
We have extraordinary breaking news to report. A radio show called Tech Talk on KFLW just received a phone call from someone claiming to be involved with the hostage situation at Nakatomi Plaza. The caller, who identified himself as Hans, stated that tonight's action is politically motivated, related to Nakatomi Corporation's business practices in Southeast Asia. We're working to verify the authenticity of this call with the FBI. We are receiving reports that this could be Hans Gruber, who is associated with the Volksfrei movement. Let's bring in Dr. Buendis. Doctor, what do you make of this?
If that call is legitimate, and that's a significant if, it changes our understanding of what's happening. Volksfrei was a radical leftist group active in Germany in the 1970s and early 1980s. They were known for anti-capitalist ideology, targeting corporations and government institutions. If this caller is genuinely associated with that movement or its philosophy, this would be ideologically motivated terrorism, not criminal activity. The political demands he mentioned, prisoner releases, financial reparations, corporate accountability, these fit the profile of political extremism. But John, I'm skeptical. In genuine political terrorism, demands are usually made through established channels, through manifestos, through direct contact with authorities. Calling a late-night radio show is unusual.
But you sound uncertain.
I am. John, here's why. The sophistication of this operation suggests professional planning. The military-grade weapons, the tactical coordination, the use of explosives. This is an amateur terrorism. If Volksfrei or a similar group is truly behind this, they have resources and training we haven't seen from European radical groups in years. The alternative is that the political angle is misdirection. Create a terrorist narrative to distract authorities while the real objective is purely financial. Nakatomi Corporation handles enormous financial transactions. If this is actually a sophisticated heist disguised as terrorism, the radio call would be part of that deception.
Harry, what's the FBI's response to this radio call?
John, I just spoke with an FBI spokesperson who confirmed they're aware of the radio call and they're analyzing the recording. They wouldn't say whether they believe it's legitimate. What I can tell you is that activity at the command post has intensified significantly in the last 10 minutes. More personnel are going in and out. There's urgent radio chatter. Something has changed. Whether it's related to the radio show or something else, I can't say. Based on the radio call mentioning Volksfrei, authorities are now operating under the assumption that the leader inside is Hans Gruber. That name has been circulated among law enforcement. Gruber was believed to be associated with radical movements in Europe, though he's been off the radar for several years. If it's really him, he's escalated from minor incidents to a major hostage situation.
Colonel Sebastian, from a tactical perspective, does it matter whether this is political or criminal?
Absolutely. Political extremists often have a different mindset than criminals. They're willing to die for their cause, which makes them more dangerous but also more predictable. They want publicity, they want their message heard. Criminals want to escape with money or goods. They're more likely to negotiate because they want to survive. The problem is, we don't know which we're dealing with. The political rhetoric could be genuine, or it could be cover for a robbery. The FBI has to prepare for both scenarios simultaneously, which complicates their tactical planning.
We're now nearly 2 hours into this crisis. Bonnie Gennaro, what are you seeing from your position?
John, the crowd here has grown despite police efforts to keep people away. Word is spreading across the city and people are coming to see what's happening. Family members of the hostages are gathered at the information center and their frustration is building. They're not getting answers. One woman told me she's been there for 90 minutes and all they can tell her is they don't know anything yet. The FBI has established a much wider perimeter than LAPD had. We're now 3 full blocks back from the building. I can see tactical teams positioning on rooftops of surrounding buildings, snipers with night vision scopes. The building itself is still lit up by those massive portable lights. It's an eerie sight, John. This tower lit up like a stage, and we're all just watching, waiting for something to happen.
Let's bring in a terrorism expert. Joining us by phone is Professor Lisa Fremont, who teaches international security studies at UCLA. Professor Fremont, thank you for joining us. What can you tell us about Volksfrei?
Volksfrei, which translates to People's Liberation, was a radical leftist organization that emerged in West Germany in the mid-1970s. They were part of a broader wave of European anti-capitalist movements. They conducted bombings, kidnappings, bank robberies to fund their operations. But John, the group was largely dismantled by German authorities by the early 1980s. Most of their leadership was arrested or killed. If someone is claiming Volksfrei affiliation now, 1988, they're either a remnant of the original organization or inspired by their ideology. The fact that they're targeting a Japanese corporation on American soil suggests this has evolved beyond traditional European radical terrorism. This is more sophisticated, more international in scope.
What would Volksfrei want?
Historically, they wanted the dismantling of capitalist systems, the release of imprisoned comrades, publicity for their anti-corporate message. The demands mentioned in the radio call, prisoner releases and corporate accountability, those align with Volksfrei ideology. But the execution, the military precision we're seeing, that suggests evolution. This isn't 1970s radical terrorism. This is something more dangerous.
Professor Fremont, thank you. This is an incredibly complex situation. We have armed suspects who have repelled a police assault, detonated explosives, and now claim political motivation tied to a European terrorist organization. 30 innocent people are somewhere inside that building, and we don't know if they're safe. The FBI is working to establish communication, to understand the demands, to assess options for resolution. But as we approach the 2-hour mark, every minute that passes increases the danger. Stay with Channel 7 News for continuing coverage of the crisis at Nakatomi Plaza. We have significant new developments in the Nakatomi Plaza crisis. LAPD has confirmed they have radio contact with someone inside the building who is fighting back against the armed suspects. This person has been using the radio call sign Roy and has reportedly engaged the hostage takers multiple times. I want to repeat that because it sounds like something out of an action movie, but this is confirmed information from LAPD. There is someone inside that building fighting back. Harry Powell has more details. Harry?
John, this is extraordinary. LAPD Sergeant Al Powell has been in radio contact with this individual for the past hour. The person identifying himself as Roy appears to be law enforcement. Based on his tactical knowledge and radio procedures, he's been providing intelligence about the situation inside, including the number of perpetrators, their weapons, and their movements. According to Powell, this individual has been conducting what tactical experts are calling a one-man guerrilla campaign. He's using the building's infrastructure, ventilation shafts, stairwells, areas the suspects can't easily defend. And John, Powell says this person has eliminated several of the armed suspects.
Do we know who this person is? Is he building security? Private security?
We don't have confirmation yet, John. He's only identified himself as Roy. The FBI is trying to determine his actual identity, but for operational security reasons, he's maintaining that alias. What we do know is that he's injured, possibly barefoot, and he's been fighting for almost 2 hours now.
Barefoot? Why would he be barefoot?
We don't have details on that, John, but Sergeant Powell mentioned it during a briefing.
Let's bring in Colonel Sebastian. Colonel, from a tactical standpoint, can one person really make a difference against a dozen armed terrorists?
Absolutely. In fact, having someone on the inside who's trained and motivated, that's a game changer. The perpetrators planned for law enforcement response from the outside. They didn't plan for resistance from within. This individual, whoever Roy is doing what special forces would do in a hostage rescue, except he's doing it alone. He's creating chaos, forcing the perpetrators to divert resources to hunt him instead of focusing on their primary objective. The other critical element is intelligence. This person can see what's happening inside in real time. He can relay information to the FBI that they couldn't get any other way. That's invaluable for planning a tactical response.
We're getting reports now that there was another exchange of gunfire inside the building approximately 20 minutes ago. Bonnie Gennaro, did you hear that from your position?
We did, John. It was brief, maybe 10 or 15 seconds of what sounded like automatic weapons fire from the middle floors. Not as sustained as what we heard during the LAPD assault, but definitely gunfire. The FBI hasn't told us what happened, but if this Roy person is engaging the suspects, it's possible that was part of another confrontation. I have to tell you, John, knowing there's someone in there fighting back, it's changed the mood out here. People are talking about it. There's this sense of hope now. Like maybe this doesn't end the way we all feared it would.
Harry, what's the FBI's response to this situation?
Officially, they're not commenting on operational details. Off the record, agents have told me they're both grateful and concerned. Grateful because this individual is disrupting the suspect's plans. Concerned because they can't control what he does. The FBI's primary objective is hostage safety. If his actions provoke a response that endangers hostages, that's a problem. But I'm also hearing that the FBI is trying to coordinate with him through Sergeant Powell. They want to use his intel while minimizing risk to the hostages.
Dr. Wendes, how does having someone inside change the psychology of this situation?
It introduces tremendous uncertainty for the perpetrators. They thought they had control, and suddenly they don't. They're being hunted inside their own stronghold. That creates panic, and panic leads to mistakes, but it also creates desperation, and desperate people do terrible things. If the perpetrators feel like they're losing control, they might execute hostages to reassert dominance, to prove they're still in charge. That's the danger.
We're being told we're getting some kind of, wait, Harry, what's happening?
John, I'm hearing on the scanner that there's been some kind of incident. Shots fired, and stand by, they're saying a hostage has been killed.
Oh, God. Do we have confirmation on that?
I'm trying to get more information, John. Scanner traffic is saying there was a radio transmission. Someone on the terrorist side made contact, and, yes, confirmed, a hostage has been shot and killed. It happened during some kind of negotiation attempt, or I'm not getting clear information yet.
This is devastating. We're now confirming that a hostage has been killed at Nakatomi Plaza. We don't have identification. We don't have details on how or why, but this crisis has just claimed its first confirmed hostage casualty. Our thoughts are with that person's family. Harry, are you getting any more details?
John, I'm hearing something else on the scanner. The radio transmission, the one where the hostage was killed, it apparently revealed the identity of the person calling himself Roy. According to what I'm hearing, the suspects called him by his real name during the transmission. His name is John McClane. He's a detective with the New York Police Department.
So, Roy was an alias?
Apparently so, John. Detective John McClane was visiting Los Angeles, and he was in the building when the takeover happened. Instead of surrendering, he's been fighting back. The suspects now know who he is, which changes the dynamic considerably. He's no longer anonymous.
I'm struggling to process all of this. A hostage has been murdered. We now know the identity of the person fighting inside the building, Detective John McClane of the NYPD. And the suspects know who he is, which puts him at even greater risk. Bonnie, how are family members reacting to news of a hostage death?
John, there's panic out here. People are screaming, crying. Everyone with a family member inside is terrified it's their loved one. The Family Information Center is trying to get identities, but the FBI isn't releasing names yet. This is absolutely heartbreaking.
We're going to stay with this story. In the last few minutes, we've learned that a hostage has been killed, and we've learned the identity of the person fighting inside the building. Detective John McClane, a New York police officer, has been engaging armed suspects for hours. The situation is deteriorating, and we'll continue to bring you updates. But first, the FBI is preparing to make a significant announcement. We're being told they're about to cut power to the building. Stay with Channel 7 News.
Tonight at 8 o'clock, stay tuned for a television event, the classic Western that defined a generation. High Noon, starring the legendary Grace Kelly and the one and only John Wayne as Marshal Will Kane, a man who must face his enemies alone. It's a story of courage, honor, and standing tall when the whole town turns its back. The clock is ticking, the train is coming, and one man must decide, does he run or does he fight? High Noon, tonight at 8, only on Channel 7. Grab the family, make some popcorn, and witness the showdown that made film history. High Noon, tonight, Channel 7, because real heroes don't back down.
We're back, and you're looking at live pictures from Sky 7. At exactly 10:45 p.m., the FBI cut power to Nakatomi Plaza. The building went dark except for minimal emergency lighting. You can see just a few dim lights in the stairwells, but otherwise, that 40-story tower is completely black. It's an eerie sight. This massive structure that was lit up like a Christmas tree just 15 minutes ago is now a dark monolith against the Los Angeles skyline. Bonnie Gennaro, you were watching from the ground when the power cut happened. What did you see?
John, it was dramatic. The moment the lights went out, you could hear the crowd react. Some people gasped, some people started crying. For the family members who are out here, seeing that building go dark, it's like watching their loved ones disappear. One man next to me said, "They're in the dark now. They don't know what's happening." And he's right. Those hostages have no idea why the power just cut, whether it means rescue is coming or something worse. From a tactical standpoint, it's impressive how quickly the FBI moved after the power cut. Within seconds, I saw spotlights activate on surrounding buildings. They're illuminating the exterior of Nakatomi Plaza, presumably so their snipers can see anyone who approaches windows. But inside, it's pitch black. The perpetrators are in the dark, the hostages are in the dark, and the detective is in there somewhere too.
Harry, are we hearing anything from inside the building since the power cut?
John, the police scanner traffic has gone almost silent, which is unusual. That suggests they've switched to encrypted channels or they're maintaining radio silence for operational security. What I can tell you is that I'm seeing SWAT teams suiting up near the command post. They're checking equipment, loading weapons, getting into position. This looks like pre-assault preparation. Whether they're actually going in or just getting ready in case they need to, I can't say. The other thing I'm noticing is the arrival of additional federal vehicles, DEA, ATF, even some unmarked vehicles that could be CIA or other agencies. This has become an all-hands situation. Every law enforcement agency with jurisdiction or expertise is here.
Colonel Sebastian, the power's been cut for about 17 minutes now. What happens in this phase?
Right now, both sides are adjusting to the new environment. The perpetrators are switching to flashlights, backup communications, trying to maintain control of their hostages in the dark. That's not easy. People panic in darkness, especially in a crisis. Hostages might try to escape, which creates both opportunity and danger. For the FBI, this is intelligence gathering time. They're watching with thermal imaging cameras to see heat signatures through windows. They're listening with directional microphones to pick up voices, footsteps, movement. They're building a real-time map of where everyone is inside that building. Once they have that map, once they know where the perpetrators are and where the hostages are, they can plan entry points that minimize risk. The detective is the wild card. In the dark, with night vision equipment or even just adaptation to low light, he could be even more effective. But he could also stumble into a tactical team's line of fire.
Dr. Windus, we're now more than 2.5 hours into this crisis. How long can a situation like this last?
There's no set timeline, John. Historically, hostage situations have lasted anywhere from hours to weeks. The 1972 Munich Olympics crisis lasted less than 24 hours. The Iran hostage crisis lasted over a year. What matters is whether the perpetrators believe they can achieve their objectives and whether they're willing to negotiate. What concerns me is the violence we're seeing. Multiple explosions, gunfire, casualties among the perpetrators. This suggests the situation is deteriorating rapidly. In stable hostage scenarios, you'll see very little violence during the standoff phase. Violence typically comes at the beginning during the takeover and at the end during resolution. But we're seeing continued violence throughout. That indicates loss of control, either by the perpetrators or by law enforcement or both.
What we know is this. Armed individuals control Nakatomi Plaza. Hostages are being held. The New York detective is inside the building engaging the perpetrators. The FBI has cut power and is positioned for potential tactical action. Everything else is speculation. We will continue to report facts as we confirm them. Stay with Channel 7 News.
All right. If you're hearing this, you found the frequency. This is Tony Johnson, broadcasting on 88.7 FM, and I'm coming to you live, completely unfiltered, because what's happening right now in Century City is the biggest load of garbage. Turn off Channel 7, turn off CNN, and listen to someone who's actually thinking critically about this situation. Nakatomi Plaza, hostage crisis, terrorists with political demands about Southeast Asia. Are you kidding me? Are we really supposed to believe that? Let me break this down for you, because I've been studying this for 3 hours now, and the pieces don't fit unless you understand what's really going on. This isn't terrorism, people. This is a black ops financial extraction disguised as terrorism, and the FBI is either complicit or they're being played like a fiddle. First, let's talk about Hans Gruber. That's the name given on that tech radio show, right? Hans Gruber. Now, I want you to think about that name. Hans Gruber. Does that sound like a real person's name to you? Or does that sound like something out of a spy novel? It's too perfect, too on the nose. German villain, European accent, spouting political ideology about Southeast Asian economics. It's a character, folks. It's a constructed identity designed to make law enforcement and the media think this is about politics when it's actually about money. Let me ask you something. If you're a real political terrorist, why do you pick Nakatomi Corporation? Why not the federal building? Why not City Hall? Why not a military installation if you're trying to make a political statement? You pick Nakatomi because they're a financial corporation, because they have assets, because they have something worth stealing. The political angle is smoke. It's distraction. Classic CIA tradecraft, straight out of the Iran-Contra playbook. Now let's talk about the timing. Christmas Eve. The building should be empty. But wait, there's a party on the 30th floor with 30 hostages. Convenient, right? Wrong. Those hostages are insurance. You need hostages to keep law enforcement from storming the building while you're cracking whatever vault or database or financial system you're actually there to rob. The hostages are a tool, not collateral damage. This was calculated, and here's where it gets really interesting. The FBI cuts the power. Why? They're saying it's standard procedure, right? It limits communications, creates darkness for tactical advantage. But what if cutting the power is exactly what the people inside need? What if Nakatomi's security system, their vault system, whatever they're protecting, requires power to stay locked? What if the FBI just gave these people exactly what they needed by cutting the power? I'm telling you, this is coordinated. Someone inside the FBI either knows what's really happening and is helping it along, or they're following procedures that were designed specifically to be exploited in this exact scenario. This is how modern heists work. You don't fight the system, you make the system work for you. You trigger responses that you've already accounted for. You turn law enforcement into your accomplice without them even knowing it. Now let's talk about Detective McClane. New York cop, just happens to be in the building, just happens to be trained in combat, just happens to be fighting back like he's Rambo or something. Does that sound plausible to you? Or does that sound like someone who was supposed to be there? Someone who was part of the original plan but went rogue? Or maybe, and stay with me here, maybe McClane is part of a counter operation. Maybe NYPD or CIA or someone else knew this was coming and they planted him there. Think about it. How does one barefoot cop take down multiple trained operatives? How does he survive firefights and explosions and keep fighting? Either he's the luckiest man alive or he's not alone. Maybe he's got backup we're not being told about. Maybe there's a whole secondary team inside that building working against Gruber's people, and McLean is just the visible piece. The media wants you to believe this is simple. Bad guys take hostages, good guys respond, we wait and see who wins. But nothing is simple. Nothing is ever simple when this much money is involved. Nakatomi Corporation handles billions in transactions. They're connected to Japanese banking, international real estate, technology investments. Remember Black Monday last year? Stock market crashed in one day, billions disappeared, and nobody could explain where it went. If someone wanted to steal from Nakatomi, if someone wanted to manipulate their systems or access their accounts, tonight would be the perfect opportunity. Create chaos, control the narrative, and while everyone's focused on the hostages and the brave detective fighting back, you're quietly moving money through offshore accounts. And let's talk about that radio call. Hans Gruber calls a tech radio show. Why? Because tech people understand financial systems. Because tech radio shows have audiences that work in banking and corporations. He's not trying to reach the masses. He's sending a message to specific people. Maybe his partners, maybe his employers, maybe people who need to know the operation is proceeding as planned. It's coded communication disguised as political theater. The FBI knows this. They have to. They're not stupid. But they're playing along because either they want this to happen for reasons we don't understand, or they're trying to catch bigger fish. Maybe Gruber's working for someone the FBI wants more than they want Gruber, so they let it play out. They cut the power when told to cut the power. They follow the script, just like they followed the script in Dallas in '63, just like they followed the script with Ollie North and the Contras. I'm not saying the hostages aren't real. I'm not saying people aren't in danger. I'm saying the danger is not what we're being told it is. This is about money. It's always about money. And the sooner people understand that, the sooner we can see through the lies. So what happens next? The FBI stages a dramatic rescue. McLean somehow survives and becomes a hero, and Hans Gruber either dies conveniently so he can't talk, or he escapes with the money and everyone pretends he didn't. The hostages go free, America celebrates, and nobody asks the uncomfortable questions about how this happened, who benefited, and where the money went. I'm Tony Johnson. This is Pirate Radio, and I'm telling you the truth. They don't want you to hear. Share this frequency. Record this broadcast, because by tomorrow morning, they'll have scrubbed me off the air, and you'll never hear this perspective again. Stay awake, people. Stay critical. Don't believe the official story. Never believe the official story. This is 88.7 FM, and I'll keep broadcasting as long as I can. Right out.
We are witnessing unprecedented scenes over Los Angeles tonight. A massive explosion has just rocked the rooftop of Nakatomi Plaza, and we're seeing what appears to be an active firefight. I'm struggling to find the words here. This is combat happening in the middle of Century City. Our Sky 7 helicopter has pulled back for safety, but you can see muzzle flashes. You can see fire on the roof, and there are reports of automatic weapons fire audible for miles around. Bonnie, what are you seeing from the ground?
John, this is beyond anything I've ever covered. The explosion on the roof was enormous. We felt the shockwave down here, a full mile away. Windows in nearby buildings shattered. Car alarms are going off everywhere. And there's gunfire. I can hear shots being fired. People are running, John. Civilians who are behind the police barriers are fleeing. Officers are trying to maintain order, but everyone's terrified. John, the helicopter. There was a helicopter circling near the roof, and when the explosion happened, it got caught in the blast. It went down, John. It crashed at the base of the tower. There's fire everywhere from the impact, debris scattered across the plaza, flames shooting up from where it hit the ground. The roof of Nakatomi Plaza is on fire. Massive flames, black smoke pouring into the sky. The smoke is visible for miles, lit orange by the flames. This is war, John. There's no other word for it.
Harry Powell, what is the FBI's response?
John, tactical teams are moving toward the building now. I can see SWAT operators advancing with shields. With rifles, they're breaching the ground floor entrance. This is it. This is the assault we've been anticipating all night. The FBI is going in. Multiple teams from different entry points. I count at least 30 officers moving toward the building. They're using the explosion and the firefight as cover to make their approach. Whoever's on that roof is distracted. They can't watch the ground level at the same time.
Colonel Sebastian, what are we looking at here?
This is a full tactical assault during an active firefight. It's incredibly dangerous, John. The perpetrators are engaged with someone on the roof, presumably the detective or possibly other law enforcement who got into position. The FBI is exploiting that distraction to breach the building and reach the hostages. This is high risk, high reward. If they can get to the hostages while the perpetrators are focused elsewhere, they can evacuate them quickly. But if the perpetrators detect the breach and turn their weapons on the tactical teams or the hostages, casualties will be catastrophic. The explosion we saw suggests C4 or similar military-grade explosives. That level of blast on a rooftop, someone was either trying to bring down the roof itself or destroy something up there. A helicopter, maybe. An escape route, I don't know. But that wasn't a small device.
We're getting reports, unconfirmed, that hostages may have been on that roof. Dr. Wendis, if that's true, what does that mean?
If hostages were on the roof when that explosion occurred, John, we're looking at mass casualties. I pray that's not accurate. The alternative is that the perpetrators moved the hostages to the roof as part of an escape plan, and something went wrong, or the detectives somehow got to the roof and prevented that escape. We just don't know. What's clear is that this situation has moved beyond negotiation. We're in the violent resolution phase now. Either law enforcement ends this or the perpetrators do. But it's ending tonight.
Bonnie, are you in a safe location?
We've moved back another 2 blocks. The police pushed everyone back after the roof explosion, but I can still see the building. I keep thinking about those hostages, about the families watching this, about that detective up there somewhere. How is anyone surviving this?
We're going to stay with this live. Whatever happens in the next few minutes, we're going to show you. Los Angeles is watching one of the most violent confrontations in this city's history play out in real time. Stay with us. Our thoughts right now are with everyone inside that building, with the hostages who have endured over 3 hours of terror, with the detective from New York, who we're now learning is identified as John McClane, whoever he is and wherever he is in that building, with the law enforcement officers who are risking their lives right now. We're going to take a very brief break, and when we come back, hopefully we'll have more information about what just happened on that rooftop. Stay with Channel 7 News.
A Rolex isn't just a timepiece, it's a promise. When you're closing the deal of a lifetime, when every second matters, when the world is watching, you need more than accuracy, you need absolute confidence. Rolex has been the choice of leaders, visionaries, and those who refuse to compromise for nearly a century. Swiss engineering, timeless design, unbreakable precision. This holiday season, give the gift that says you've arrived. Give a Rolex, because a Rolex will never break, ever. Rolex, the watch that defines success.
We are back with our continuing coverage of the situation at Nakatomi Plaza. Colonel Sebastian, what is your assessment of the situation?
John, I'm watching the tactical teams in their holding position at the base of the building. They've breached the entrance, but they're not advancing further. That suggests they're waiting for something. Maybe an all clear from units inside, maybe confirmation that it's safe to proceed to the upper floors. The fact that they're not rushing in tells me they believe the immediate threat has been neutralized or is being contained.
Our thoughts right now are with everyone inside that building, with the hostages who have endured over 3 hours of terror, with the detective from New York, who we're now learning is identified as John McClane, whoever he is and wherever he is in that building, with the law enforcement officers who are risking their lives right now. We're going to take a very brief break, and when we come back, hopefully we'll have more information about what just happened on that rooftop. Stay with Channel 7 News.
Brothers and sisters, this is Reverend John Thomas on KPRZ 1210, and I know many of you are listening tonight not for comfort, but because you need to hear a voice that speaks truth in the midst of chaos. We interrupt our regular programming because what is happening in Century City demands that we turn our hearts and our prayers toward that dark tower where evil has taken root. The book of James tells us, what causes fights and quarrels among you? Don't they come from your desires that battle within you? You desire but do not have, so you kill. You covet but you cannot get what you want, so you quarrel and fight. Tonight, we are witnessing the fruit of human greed, of unchecked desire, of hearts that have turned away from the light of Christ and embraced the darkness of this world. Men with guns have seized that building, not for justice, not for righteousness, but for mammon, for money, for the love of wealth, which Scripture tells us is the root of all evil. But let me speak plainly tonight, because the hour is late and souls hang in the balance. This is not merely a crime we are witnessing. This is spiritual warfare made manifest in our physical world. There are forces of darkness at work tonight, principalities and powers that seek to devour the innocent, to spread fear, to mock the very notion that God sees and God judges. The enemy prowls like a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour, and tonight he has chosen Nakatomi Plaza as his hunting ground. Yet even in this darkness, even as flames rise from that tower and gunfire echoes through the night, I tell you that God has not abandoned those people. He has not turned his face from the suffering. The psalmist writes, God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. Therefore we will not fear, though the earth give way and the mountains fall into the heart of the sea. Those hostages, trapped in darkness, may not know it, but they are held in the palm of God's hand. Every breath they take is a gift from him. Every moment they survive is a testament to his mercy. And what of Detective John McClane, a man whose name we did not know this morning, a stranger to this city, who finds himself thrust into the valley of the shadow of death? Some might call it chance, some might call it luck. But I tell you, brothers and sisters, there is no such thing as coincidence in God's economy. That man was placed in that building at that exact moment for a purpose. He may not understand it. He may not believe it. But God has made him an instrument of deliverance this night. The Lord works through imperfect vessels. Moses was a murderer. David was an adulterer. Peter denied Christ 3 times. Yet God used them all because God's power is made perfect in weakness. Detective McLean, wounded and barefoot, fighting impossible odds. He is God's warrior tonight, whether he knows it or not. And we must pray for him. We must lift him up before the throne of grace and ask that God's hand guide his steps, steady his aim, and protect him from harm. But let me also speak to those men inside that building who have brought this terror upon the innocent. You who have chosen violence, you who have chosen greed, you who believe you can escape the consequences of your actions, hear me now. God sees you. He knows your hearts. He knows every evil thought, every selfish motivation, every life you've taken or threatened. And while there is still breath in your lungs, there is still time for repentance. Even now, at this late hour, you can turn from your wickedness and cry out for mercy. Scripture tells us that God does not delight in the death of the wicked, but that the wicked would turn from their ways and live. I plead with you, whoever you are in that building, whatever you have done, lay down your weapons, release those hostages, fall on your knees and beg forgiveness from God and from man. You will face earthly justice, yes, but you can still face it with a clean conscience before the Almighty. Do not let this night end with your soul condemned to eternal darkness. And to the hostages, if any of you can hear this broadcast, if someone has a radio, or if these words reach you by some providence, know this: you are not alone. Thousands are praying for you at this moment. Churches across this city have opened their doors for prayer vigils. Believers are on their knees crying out to God on your behalf. The faithful are interceding for your safety, for your deliverance, for your families. You are covered in prayer, surrounded by the love of strangers who weep for you tonight. Hold fast to hope. Do not let despair consume you. The Lord is near to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. Whatever happens in the next hours, whether you are rescued by men or by angels, whether you walk out of that building or are carried into the presence of God, know that you are precious in His sight. Your lives matter. Your suffering is not in vain. And though the night is dark, the morning will come. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we come before you in this desperate hour, lifting up those who are trapped in that tower of darkness. Lord, you are the God who sees. You are the God who delivers. You are the God who parts seas and tumbles walls and delivers your people from their enemies. Protect the innocent. Lord, guide the hands of those who would rescue them. Give wisdom to the authorities. Give courage to Detective McLean. And if it be your will, bring down judgment upon those who have chosen evil. We pray for the families who wait in agony, not knowing if their loved ones live or die. Comfort them, Father. Hold them close. Give them peace that surpasses understanding. We pray for the law enforcement officers who are risking their lives at this moment. Protect them as they go into harm's way. Bring them home safely to their families. And Lord, we pray for those who have caused this terror. Convict their hearts, break through their hardness, show them the horror of their sins, and call them to repentance before it is too late. Let this night not end with souls consigned to hell, but with mercy triumphing over judgment. We ask these things in the powerful name of Jesus Christ, who conquered death and hell, who holds the keys to the kingdom, who is the way and the truth and the life. Let Christmas morning bring deliverance, not tragedy. Let dawn break over a city that has witnessed both the depths of human evil and the heights of divine mercy. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. This is Reverend John Thomas. I will remain on the air throughout the night, praying with you, waiting with you, believing with you that God has not forgotten Los Angeles tonight. Stay strong, brothers and sisters. The darkest hour is just before the dawn.
It's just after midnight, which means it's officially Christmas Day, though it doesn't feel much like Christmas. This is Argyle White on After Dark, and our lines are full of people who witnessed what just happened at Nakatomi Plaza. I'm going to take these calls one at a time. Please, if you have information, if you saw something, tell us what you saw. Line 1, this is David from West Hollywood.
Argyle, I saw someone fall from the building. From way up high, I was watching from my apartment balcony with binoculars, and I saw a person falling. They fell for what seemed like forever, and then I can't describe it.
David, take your breath. It's okay. Was this before or after the big explosion on the roof?
It was after, maybe 5 minutes after. The roof was on fire, and there was still shooting, and then I saw this figure at the edge of the building, and they went over. I don't know if they jumped or were pushed or fell, but they didn't have a chance. Nobody survives a fall from that height.
Did you see what floor they fell from?
High up. Maybe the 35th, 40th floor. It's hard to tell from a distance, but it was near the top. I called 911, but the lines are jammed. Everyone's calling. I needed to tell someone what I saw. Someone fell, Argyle. Someone died while we were all watching.
David, thank you for calling. I know that was difficult to talk about. Let's go to line 2. This is Margaret from Westwood.
Argyle, my husband and I live 4 blocks from Nakatomi Plaza. We've been watching from our window all night. Before that massive explosion on the roof, we saw people up there, hostages it looked like, a whole group of them on the roof. And then, and this is the strangest thing, someone started firing shots into the air, just firing straight up, and all the hostages scattered, running back toward the roof access door. They were panicking, trying to get off the roof.
Someone was firing into the air, not at the hostages?
That's what it looked like from our angle. Just shots fired up, maybe to create chaos. I don't know, but it worked. The hostages ran off that roof like their lives depended on it. And then, maybe 30 seconds later, the whole roof exploded. The entire thing just went up in flames. If those hostages had still been up there, they would all be dead. Whoever fired those shots, crazy as it sounds, they might have saved those people's lives. And the helicopter. There was a helicopter circling near the roof when it went off. The explosion caught it. We saw it go down. It crashed somewhere near the base of the building. The whole thing happened so fast.
Margaret, are you and your husband safe? Are police evacuating your area?
They tried to evacuate our building about an hour ago, but we refused to leave. This is our home. We're on the 10th floor. We have concrete walls. We're as safe here as anywhere. And honestly, Argyle, we feel like we need to witness this. Like it's important that we see what's happening, that we don't look away. Does that make sense?
It does. Thank you for calling, Margaret. Line 3, this is Officer Reynolds, and you're calling from where, officer?
I'm off-duty LAPD. I live in Marina del Rey. I've been listening to the police scanner all night. Argyle, the radio traffic in the last 20 minutes has been intense. I'm hearing casualty reports. I'm hearing calls for additional ambulances. Multiple units requesting medical support. That means people are hurt, possibly dead. Could be suspects, could be officers, could be hostages. The scanner doesn't differentiate.
Can you tell us anything else from what you're hearing?
They're using codes I haven't heard since my academy days. Barricaded suspect codes, active shooter codes, officer needs assistance. The FBI has gone to encrypted channels for most communications, but LAPD is still on open channels for coordination. What I'm hearing suggests they've made entry into the building and they're clearing floors. That's high-risk work. Every door could have a gun behind it. Every hallway could be an ambush. The other thing I'm hearing is requests for bomb disposal units. Someone mentioned C4. Someone mentioned detonators. That suggests there are explosives planted throughout the building, not just what we saw on the roof. If that's true, if the suspects rigged the building with bombs, this could get much worse before it gets better.
Officer Reynolds, thank you for that information. Folks, what we're hearing from these callers is painting a picture of extreme violence at Nakatomi Plaza. We have confirmation of automatic weapons fire, possible explosives throughout the building, casualties, and at least one person falling from the upper floors. This is beyond anything Los Angeles has experienced in modern history. I want to take one more call before we break. Line 4, this is Al from Century City.
Argyle, I'm a doctor at Cedars-Sinai. I just finished my shift and I'm trying to get home, but I can't get through Century City. There are emergency vehicles everywhere. Ambulances, fire trucks, police cars. I've never seen anything like it. And they're all just staged there waiting. Paramedics are standing by their ambulances ready to go in, but they can't. It's too dangerous. I talked to one of the paramedics I know, and he said they're expecting mass casualties. They've been told to prepare for dozens of injured people. They've set up a field triage area at the Century City Mall parking lot. They have supplies, they have doctors standing by, they have helicopters ready to transport critical patients. The medical response is enormous, Argyle. They're preparing for the worst.
Al, thank you. That's sobering information. Listeners, we're going to stay on the air throughout the night. If you're out there, if you're seeing something, if you know something, call us. The number is on your screen. This is After Dark on AM 640. And tonight we're all watching history unfold in the worst possible way. Stay with us.
Hey Los Angeles, it's Mike Johnson here, and joining me is my business partner Dave Johnson. Now before you ask, no, we're not related. We just both happen to be named Johnson, which makes for a memorable business name. And when disaster strikes your pipes this holiday season, that's exactly what you need, a name you can remember. Johnson & Johnson Plumbing has been serving the greater LA area for over 20 years. We're locally owned, locally operated, and we show up when we say we will. Burst pipe? We're there. Water heater out on Christmas Eve? We're there. Clogged drain ruining your holiday dinner? You guessed it. We're there. No job too big. No pipe too small. We treat your home like it's our own. Because in this business, trust matters. Johnson & Johnson Plumbing. Two guys named Johnson. One guarantee, we'll get the job done right. Remember, when you need professionals who care, call the Johnsons. Johnson & Johnson Plumbing. We're not federal agents. We're just two guys named Johnson who are really good at fixing pipes. No relation.
Good morning, Los Angeles. It's 6 a.m. on Christmas morning, and we're coming to you with breaking news from Century City. The hostage crisis at Nakatomi Plaza has ended. After nearly 10 hours of terror, the standoff concluded approximately 4 hours ago at 2 a.m. All surviving hostages have been rescued and are receiving medical attention. The terrorist leader, identified as Hans Gruber, is dead. Detective John McClane, the New York police officer who fought throughout the night from inside the building, has survived and has been reunited with his wife. I want to say that again because it almost doesn't seem real. It's over. Those 70 people who were trapped on the 30th floor, who lived through explosions and gunfire and hours of not knowing if they would see another day, they're safe. They're with their families, it's Christmas morning, and they're alive. Let me give you the timeline of what happened in those final hours. At approximately 1 a.m., FBI tactical teams entered Nakatomi Plaza from multiple points. They expected heavy resistance, but discovered that most of the terrorists had already been neutralized by Detective John McClane. What remained were scattered pockets of gunfire as agents secured the last surviving assailants. During that time, McLean confronted Hans Gruber on the 30th floor where the hostages were being held. In that confrontation, Gruber fell from the building. He did not survive. With Gruber dead and the remaining members of his crew either killed or taken into custody, the hostages were evacuated floor by floor. Medical personnel treated individuals for a range of injuries, from minor cuts and smoke inhalation to more serious trauma. Miraculously, nearly every hostage survived the ordeal. I want to emphasize that, despite the chaos, despite the explosions and gunfire, despite hours of terror inside that tower, only 2 hostages were killed. Joseph Takagi, the Nakatomi executive murdered early in the crisis, and Harry Ellis, who was shot when he attempted to negotiate with the terrorist. Bonnie Gennaro has been on the scene all night. Bonnie, you witnessed the moment when hostages started coming out. Tell us what that was like.
John, I'm not ashamed to say I cried. We all did. It was around 2:15 a.m. when the first hostages emerged from the building. They were wrapped in blankets. Some were being carried on stretchers. Some were walking with help from paramedics, but they were coming out. They were alive. The crowd that had gathered here, the family members who had been waiting for hours in agony, they started screaming and running toward the barriers. Police had to hold them back until they could identify who was coming out. And then you'd see these reunions, John, a man finding his wife, a mother finding her daughter, people collapsing into each other's arms, sobbing, holding each other like they'd never let go. I've covered news for 12 years, and I've never seen anything that powerful. One woman I spoke to earlier in the night, her husband works for Nakatomi. She found him in the crowd of evacuees. She told me she'd been praying for 8 hours straight. She said she made a deal with God that if he brought her husband home, she'd never ask for anything else as long as she lived. And there he was, walking toward her. And she just said, thank you, thank you, thank you, over and over.
What about Detective McLean? Did you see him?
I did. About 20 minutes after the hostages came out, McLean walked out of that building on his own feet, barefoot, like we'd been hearing all night, covered in blood and dirt and soot. His shirt was torn, his face was cut up, he was limping, but he was walking. FBI agents tried to take him to an ambulance and he waved them off. He was looking for someone in the crowd. And then I saw her. A woman broke through the police line, ran straight to him. That was Holly Gennaro, John McLean's wife. They collided in the middle of that street and they held each other, and McLean just buried his face in her hair. An FBI agent told me later that McLean fought through that entire building to save his wife, that everything he did was to get to her. And then, John, after everything they'd been through, McLean finally stepped out of that building and saw Sergeant Al Powell for the first time. The two of them just stood there, looking at each other, these men who had been voices in the dark together all night. McLean nodded, Powell nodded back, and then the two of them walked toward each other and embraced. Two strangers who had carried each other through hell, finally face to face. But then that wasn't the end. One of the terrorists, a man everyone believed was dead, staggered out from the smoke behind McLean with a rifle in his hands. He raised the weapon, aiming straight at McLean, and John never saw him coming. But Sergeant Powell did. Powell drew his weapon for the first time in years, hand steady, heart true, and he fired. He dropped the gunman before he could kill anyone. It was over in seconds, but Lord, it was close. McLean almost didn't make it. Powell had saved his life. And after that shot, after ending the last threat in that nightmare, he and McLean stood together in a silence that said everything words couldn't. In the middle of all that destruction, all that death, there was this moment of pure humanity.
Harry Powell, and no relation to Sergeant Al Powell. You've been at the command center all night. What's the official word from the FBI?
John, the FBI gave a statement about 30 minutes ago. He confirmed that Hans Gruber was the leader of what they're now calling a criminal enterprise disguised as terrorism. The political demands that Gruber made during that radio interview, those were fake, complete fabrication. This was never about politics or social justice or any of that. This was a robbery, plain and simple. Gruber and his team were after $640 million in bearer bonds stored in Nakatomi's vault. Bearer bonds are essentially cash, untraceable, negotiable by whoever holds them. Gruber's plan was elaborate. The terrorist angle was misdirection to keep authorities focused on hostage negotiation while he cracked the vault. The explosions, the violence, all of it was designed to create chaos and cover his real objective. What Gruber didn't plan for was Detective McLean. One man disrupted the entire operation. McLean eliminated multiple members of Gruber's team throughout the night, provided intelligence to the FBI, and ultimately confronted Gruber directly. The FBI is calling McLean a hero. That's not hyperbole. He saved lives.
What's the final count on casualties?
This is preliminary, but the FBI is reporting 13 suspects dead, including Hans Gruber, with 13 members of his team confirmed killed inside the building and one killed outside by Sergeant Al Powell after attempting to attack Detective McClane. And in addition to the terrorists, the casualties include 2 hostages, Nakatomi, President Joseph Takagi, executed early in the crisis, and Harry Ellis, who was shot after attempting to negotiate with the terrorists, as well as the helicopter pilot from the FBI transport that crashed during the rooftop explosion, along with the 2 FBI agents on board, Special Agents Johnson and Johnson, who were killed when their aircraft went down. The fact that there weren't more deaths is remarkable, John. This could have been catastrophic. If not for McClane's actions, if not for the FBI's tactical response, we could be talking about dozens of dead hostages this morning.
Let's bring back Dr. Wendis and Colonel Sebastian. Doctor, you expressed skepticism last night about Gruber's political claims. You were right.
I take no satisfaction in that, John. I wish I'd been wrong. I wish this had been about ideology, because at least then you could understand the motivation. But this was about greed, pure greed. Gruber was willing to kill 70 people for money. That's a level of sociopathy that's difficult to comprehend. What's interesting from a criminal psychology perspective is how sophisticated his planning was. He studied that building. He studied law enforcement response procedures. He anticipated how authorities would react. The terrorist cover story, calling into that radio show, even cutting the power played into his plan, because Nakatomi's vault system required the FBI to cut power to open the final lock. He manipulated everyone, and he would have succeeded if not for the random chance that an off-duty cop from New York happened to be in the building.
Colonel Sebastian, from a tactical perspective, what's your assessment?
Detective McClane executed one of the most remarkable individual tactical performances I've ever heard of. He had no backup, limited ammunition, no body armor, no shoes. He was operating in a hostile environment against trained, armed opponents who outnumbered him 12-1, and he won. He systematically eliminated threats, gathered intelligence, and adapted to changing circumstances. That's not luck. That's skill, courage, and sheer determination. The FBI's final assault was textbook. They positioned their teams correctly. They exploited the chaos McClane created, and they executed with minimal casualties. But make no mistake, McClane was the deciding factor. Without him inside that building, this ends very differently. Gruber gets his bonds, probably kills the hostages to eliminate witnesses, and escapes. McClane prevented that.
We're now getting word that we're about to hear from the Los Angeles mayor. Mayor Harvey Taylor is going to address the city. Let's listen to that now.
My fellow Angelinos, Merry Christmas. Well, I suppose under the circumstances, that greeting might seem a bit unusual, but I mean it sincerely. Because this morning, despite everything we've witnessed, despite the darkness of the past 10 hours, we have much to be grateful for. Last night, evil came to our city. It came in the form of men with guns and explosives, men motivated not by ideology or conviction, but by simple greed. They seized one of our buildings. They terrorized innocent people. They brought violence to our streets on Christmas Eve. And you know, that reminds me of something. Back in 1942, there was a film called Casablanca, and in it, Claude Rains plays this police captain who says he's shocked to find gambling going on in Rick's Cafe. Well, I'm not shocked. I'm not shocked that evil exists in this world. We've seen it before, and sadly, we'll probably see it again. But here's what I am shocked by, in the best possible way. I'm shocked by the courage of one man, Detective John McClane of the New York Police Department. Now, Detective McClane came to Los Angeles for a simple reason. He came to see his wife, to try to reconcile with his family on Christmas. That's all. He didn't come here looking for trouble. Trouble found him, and when it did, when he could have hidden, when he could have surrendered, when he could have done the reasonable thing that most of us would have done, he chose to fight. You know, there's another movie I'm reminded of, High Noon, from 1952. Gary Cooper plays a marshal who has to face down killers alone because nobody else will stand with him. The whole town turns their back on him, but he stands anyway. He stands because it's right, because someone has to, because evil only wins when good men do nothing. Last night, Detective McClane was Gary Cooper in that street, alone, outgunned, with every reason to walk away. But he didn't. For nearly 10 hours, this man fought through that building. He took on 12 armed criminals by himself. He was wounded, he was exhausted, he had no backup, but he kept going because he knew that if he didn't, innocent people would die. His wife was in that building, but so were 69 other people he'd never met, people he had no obligation to, people who weren't his responsibility, and he fought for every single one of them. Now, I've been mayor of this great city for 6 years, and I've seen a lot of heroes, our firefighters, our police officers, our emergency responders. They're heroes every single day. But what Detective McClain did last night transcends normal heroism. What he did was extraordinary. And on behalf of every person in Los Angeles, on behalf of those 30 hostages and their families, I want to say thank you. Thank you, Detective McClain. You honored your badge, you honored your city, and you honored the very best of what human beings can be when faced with the worst. I also want to thank the FBI. Their tactical response was professional and effective. I want to thank the Los Angeles Police Department, particularly Sergeant Al Powell, who maintained contact with Detective McClain throughout the night and coordinated the law enforcement response. I want to thank our firefighters, our paramedics, every emergency responder who was on the scene. You represented Los Angeles with distinction. Now we have to talk about the cost. We lost a good man last night. Joseph Takagi, the president of Nakatomi Corporation, was murdered by Hans Gruber. Mr. Takagi was a respected businessman, a leader in the Los Angeles business community, and by all accounts, a devoted husband and father. He died because he refused to help criminals, because he had integrity even in the face of death. His family is in our prayers this morning, and we will honor his memory. 3 LAPD officers were injured during the final assault. They're receiving treatment, and we're told they'll make full recoveries. But they put their lives on the line for this city, and we owe them our gratitude. The Nakatomi Plaza building sustained significant damage. The roof is partially destroyed. Multiple floors have fire and structural damage. It's going to take time and resources to repair, but buildings can be rebuilt, lives can't be replaced, and this morning 30 people are alive who very easily might not have been. That's what matters. I'm often asked, particularly by the media, whether Los Angeles is a safe city, whether people should be afraid. And my answer is always the same. We are as safe as we choose to be. We are protected not just by our police and our laws, but by our values, by our willingness to stand together against those who would harm us. Last night we saw evil, yes, but we also saw courage. We saw sacrifice. We saw ordinary people like Sergeant Powell, like Detective McClain, like the FBI agents who stormed that building. We saw them choose to be heroes. There's a scene in It's a Wonderful Life, and I think Frank Capra said it better than I ever could. George Bailey is standing on that bridge thinking his life doesn't matter, thinking he hasn't made a difference. And Clarence the Angel shows him what the world would be like without him. All the lives he touched, all the good he did without even realizing it. Detective McClain probably doesn't think he did anything special last night. I'm sure he'll say he was just doing his job, just trying to save his wife, just trying to survive. But he touched 30 lives. He saved 30 lives. And those 30 people will have children and grandchildren, and they'll tell the story of the man who fought for them on Christmas Eve. That's impact. That's legacy. So this Christmas morning, as we gather with our families, as we open our presents and share our meals, let's remember what we witnessed last night. Let's remember that darkness is real, but so is light. That evil exists, but so does goodness. That there are people in this world who will hurt others for money, but there are also people who will risk everything to protect strangers. And as long as we have more of the latter than the former, as long as we have men and women willing to stand in the gap when evil comes calling, we're going to be okay. To the families of the hostages, you have your loved ones back. Hug them tight, don't let go. Life is precious and fragile, and we should never take for granted the people we love. To Detective McClain, if you're listening, I don't know if you're planning to stay in Los Angeles or go back to New York. But if you do go back, I want you to know that this city will never forget you. You're an honorary Angelino now, and you're welcome here anytime. And to all of Los Angeles, Merry Christmas. We've been through something terrible together, but we came through it. We survived, and that's worth celebrating. God bless you all, and God bless the city of Los Angeles. Now, I'm going to go home and spend some time with my family, and I suggest you all do the same. Thank you.
That was Los Angeles Mayor Harvey Taylor with his Christmas morning address to the city. And I think he captured something important there. This has been the longest night of my career, and probably the most difficult. But sitting here now, Watching the sun come up over Los Angeles, knowing those hostages are safe, knowing Detective McClane survived, I feel something I didn't expect to feel. Hope. Bonnie Gennaro is still at the scene. Bonnie, the sun is rising now. What does Nakatomi Plaza look like in the daylight?
John, the damage is extensive. The top floors are blackened from fire. Windows are blown out on multiple levels. There's debris scattered around the base of the building. It looks like a war zone, which I suppose it was, but it's quiet now. The emergency vehicles are starting to clear out. The tactical teams have stood down. The crisis is over. There are still family members here, even though the hostages have been taken to hospitals or reunited with loved ones. People are just standing here, looking at the building, processing what happened. I spoke with a woman whose sister was one of the hostages. She said she needed to see the building in daylight, needed to see that it was real, that it was over, that her sister was really safe. I think a lot of people feel that way. The FBI has the building secured and they're conducting their investigation. They'll be here for days, probably weeks, collecting evidence, documenting the crime scene, but the immediate danger is gone. We can all breathe again.
Harry Powell, you mentioned earlier that the tech radio show, which received the call from Hans Gruber, has submitted their recording to the FBI. What's the status of that?
The FBI has confirmed that the voice on that recording was indeed Hans Gruber. They're analyzing the call for any intelligence value, looking for clues about possible accomplices or where the bearer bonds might have been intended to go. The radio hosts themselves are cooperating fully. They're shaken by the fact that they spoke directly to a man who was in the process of committing mass hostage taking. But they did the right thing by immediately contacting authorities. There's been some interesting social media reaction to that pirate radio conspiracy broadcaster, the one who claimed this was a financial operation. Turns out he was partially right. It was about money, not politics, though his theories about CIA involvement and government complicity were, of course, nonsense. But I suspect he's going to be insufferable about being accidentally correct.
Dr. Wendis, you've studied crisis situations for decades. What's the recovery process going to be like for these hostages?
It's going to be difficult, John. These people experienced severe psychological trauma. They believed they were going to die. Some of them witnessed executions, heard gunfire, lived through explosions. That doesn't just go away when you're rescued. They'll need counseling. Many of them will develop post-traumatic stress disorder. Some will have survivor's guilt. The road ahead is long, but they're alive to walk that road. And that's what matters. They have access to support, they have families, they have each other. Trauma bonds people together. Those hostages will share a connection for the rest of their lives. They survive something unimaginable together, and that shared survival can be a source of strength. As for Detective McClane, he's going to need support too. What he did was heroic, but it was also deeply traumatic. He killed people last night. Even when it's justified, even when it's in defense of innocent lives, taking a human life affects you. He'll need time to process that.
Colonel Sebastian, in your military career, did you ever see anything comparable to what McClane accomplished?
Not from a single individual. No. I've seen Special Forces teams accomplish similar objectives, but they had training, equipment, backup, communications, medical support. McClane had a pistol and a radio. That's it. And he outmaneuvered a dozen armed criminals in their own stronghold. It's remarkable. I think what's most impressive is his adaptability. He couldn't overpower them, so he outthought them. He used the building's infrastructure against them. He created confusion and fear in their ranks. He turned their own plans against them. That's not just physical courage, that's tactical intelligence. The man is a born warrior, whether he thinks of himself that way or not.
We've been on the air for over 10 hours covering this crisis, and I want to thank our entire news team, Bonnie Gennaro, who's been on scene all night, Harry Powell, monitoring developments at the command center, our helicopter pilots who gave us those aerial views, our producers, our camera operators, everyone who worked through the night to bring you this coverage. More importantly, I want to thank the men and women who actually made a difference last night. The FBI, LAPD, the firefighters, the paramedics, Sergeant Al Powell, and Detective John McClane. You gave 30 people their lives back. You gave their families the greatest Christmas gift imaginable. You're the real story here, not us. As we close our coverage, the sun is fully up now over Los Angeles. It's Christmas morning, families are gathering, children are opening presents, and life goes on. For the families, that life will be sweeter than they ever imagined because they came so close to losing it. This is John Willis for Channel 7 News. We'll continue to follow this story in the days ahead. But for now, go be with your families. hold them close. And remember that sometimes, on the darkest nights, heroes emerge when we need them most. We'll see you tonight for our evening news coverage. Thank you for watching, and in the words of John McClane, yippee-ki-yay. Well, you know the rest. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.